Serious researchers now say that the real question is not whether there are abductions occurring, but are there abductions to help or to harm us?
And the Greys were authorized to, sort of like a Noah's Ark, to develop a full genetic and DNA bank of all flora and fauna on this planet so as to replant it centuries down the road after the catastrophe.
Can you imagine any president, whether it be Bush or Clinton or whatever, standing before the public and saying, yes, I am aware that we have this joint program with some aliens to upgrade our biological computers, to build better bodies to house our souls in future incarnations? They can't talk about things like that. He wouldn't be able to do the job we hired him to do.
What we know of the reptilians by a number of abductees, contactees and also whistleblowers is that there seems to be a lot of evidence supporting the existence of this race of beings on the planet for thousands of years. In other words, that we might consider them to be an indigenous Earth species, an advanced non-human species that has lived on the Earth for thousands of years and actually may have played quite an important role in the genetic manipulation or engineering which supposedly has happened when it comes to humanity.
There are various groups and individuals, species, who from time to time come and visit this planet, zoop around, and I think that to try to ascribe any one particular motive to them is tantamount to us looking up at the air at a Boeing 767 aircraft and saying, are those people good or bad? You know, you just can't ask that. It's a group of people, a group of intelligent beings. Some of them are good, some of them are not so good. But I will say this, I don't think there's any reason for great fear and anxiety.
Most recently, 2 new terms have emerged that also describe human-alien interaction. The most widely used is the word experiencer for those who have had some sort of experience, good or bad, and participator, which has been coined to explain the cases where the individual may have been an abductee originally, but has transcended that situation by now volunteering to participate with his abductors.
My contact with extraterrestrial intelligence occurred when I was aboard my sailing boat in Hawaii in the Honolulu harbor. And it was early one morning. It was about 5 o'clock and I had gotten up early and I had gotten a cup of coffee and I'd gone back to my bunk and I was just laying there completely dressed, trying to just look at the beautiful sunrise that was occurring through the large skylight above my bed. Then suddenly the most incredible energy enveloped me and the whole room began to like glow and glisten, and a beautiful woman materialized right next to my bed. And at first I thought I was dreaming or hallucinating. And I said, "You can't be real." And she said, "Well, I am." And I said, "Well, why are you here?" And she said, "I'm here as a representative of a group of friends that want you to come to a briefing."
The room was lit up completely, but my eyes were closed. I knew somehow not to open my eyes. There was something telling me, don't open your eyes because you won't like what you're going to see. Eventually I did open my eyes because I could hear noise in the room. There was like scuffling on the floor. I opened my eyes. There were 3 small grey beings with big black eyes and big heads and very skinny, spindly limbs. They pulled me up out of the bed, and then with one behind me and one each side of me holding my elbows, walked me towards the window. And I'm thinking, well, the windows are closed, guys, so you better open them before we go any further. So there was this rationality and irrationality going on at the same time.
I boarded what could be called a saucer. It was some type of an interdimensional vehicle that took me to the briefing that was occurred on a planet, the local planet here in our system. It was Jupiter. And the whole planet just radiated with the energy. And I spent time there with these incredible people or beings. And I got a glimpse of mankind's destiny or future as it was possible
And as we approached the window, I closed my eyes, and as I did, I felt this stickiness. It was a stickiness and a feeling of something being pulled very slowly across my face. It wasn't painful, it was just very, very weird. I opened my eyes because I felt cold, I felt wind on my face, and I was aware that I was now floating outside of the window, 3 stories up, looking down at the car park with a very bright light above my head. I couldn't really see what was above my head, I was just aware of this very bright light, 1 little grey on each elbow, I was aware of them, and we floated up into the craft.
And people have said, well, then you were abducted, and I said, no, I went very willingly. And they've also asked, how can you tell if you were to meet an extraterrestrial? And I would have to say the energy field, because when they're in your presence, they absolutely resonate at a frequency that's so much higher. And it can only be described as, dealing with them could be described as ecstasy.
I had been taken in the middle of the night while I was asleep, and I was asleep through the whole thing until all of a sudden I felt some pressure going up my nose, and it startled me so much that I opened my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I saw this large-headed being with gray skin, large black eyes, and small other features that was looking down at me. And he had long fingers that he was using to hold this instrument that he was using to shove up my nose.
I feel knowledge is power. And someday, maybe next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe 5 years from now, we're going to get all of the proof we need that somebody exists. Hey, an ET might show up and I might actually get an interview. The point is that the more we know about this subject, then less legend can take over.